Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and welcome to another WAM Headlines live news update. I think, what is this, the 5th? I'm going to let a few people tune in before we really get down to it. We just started, so let a few people say hi, say something in the chat, and then we're going to get to the latest headlines that are in the news and, give it the spin that no one else is talking about. Talking about, the stuff that no one's willing to speak of. So the chat is a little laggy. There isn't anyone popping up thus far in the live broadcast anyway. So, I see people commenting, but it says 0 people watching. That's always fun. Thanks, YouTube. Anyway, we're going to get right to it. Hello, Lita. Hello, David. Hello, Ali. Hello, Tammy. Beaky. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Ken. How's it going, everyone? Okay, so Ali Klein, I do have something on Tillerson. I will be reporting on that. It's the last of the 4 stories that I'm going to be doing today, and then I'm going to take your questions. So basically, for those that aren't aware of this yet, what I do is I report a whole bunch of quick stories live here. You get to see me open, you get to see me close, but I put those videos up separately as individual reports later on. It says people are saying 54 watching, 75 watching. For me, it still says 0 for some reason. I don't know, just a glitch. Anyway, I'm going to open it, I'm going to close it, but don't go anywhere. I'm going to still be here when I sign out and say find the truth, be the change and everything. I'll still be here, so don't go anywhere. So I'm just going to get right down to it because, of course, I'm going to be live editing as per usual when I do these live things. Really difficult to do, so, bear with me. I'm going to do what I can here, but I'm going to get going here and start the first story. So, one moment. Just get everything ready here. Make sure I can read what I have, my notes written down here. And then we will be off. Okay. Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and I'm here with another live Freedom Minute, and today the story is that Colorado may legalize magic mushrooms. So a few years ago, after legalizing cannabis in Colorado, there's something even more magical on the ballot. As a Free Thought Project reports, paving the way for legalization is a group called Denver for psilocybin, and they may soon have the go-ahead to get mushroom legalization on the ballot. And gathering at the steps of the Denver City and County building on Wednesday, the group chanting at times, "Free the spores," met with the city leaders about their push to decriminalize psilocybin, also known as magic mushrooms. And then, of course, let's see, moving on to the next, there's decriminalization would mean reducing the penalty for possession of psilocybin mushrooms. Colorado decriminalized marijuana long before the drug became legal for medicinal recreational use. Tyler Williams, one of the leaders of Denver for psilocybin, spoke to Denver 7 about their reasoning behind the push. There's a lot of research for all sorts of mental health issues, everything from anxiety to depression to cluster headaches, addictions, and etc., said Williams. He went on to say, I had a suicide attempt November 12th of 2015, and I think it helped me a lot to get out of depression, and it's helped me with my PTSD, Williams said. Now, as TFTP reported earlier this year, study published in the scientific journal Neuropharmacology found that clinically depressed people had increased neural responses to fearful faces 1 day after psilocybin-assisted therapy session, which positively predicted positive clinical outcomes. Now, psilocybin-assisted therapy might mitigate depression by increasing emotional connection. Neuroscientist and study author Leor Roseman, a PhD student at Imperial College London, explained to SciPost. Now, let's see. Breaking away from the story, I must say, legalization is simply the government taking a right away and giving it back at a price. And that price usually involves, extortion via taxation and heavy regulatory burdens. Legalization means government control. Now, so while it's good to see that less people will be kidnapped and thrown in cages by government pirates, I'd also like to add it's better the prohibition itself is ended. And as time goes on, government will always attempt to benefit as much as they can and eliminate freedoms involving that which they are pushing. So I just want to get down to the point here. Just like they're propping up major pharmaceutical rackets and making a killing off of it themselves while pushing dangerous prescription drugs on people, remember, folks, it's about freedom. You have no right as a collective or an individual to enforce your will on another and tell them what they can and cannot do with their body. If they are not hurting anyone, it's none of your business. Being preemptive is absurd. If you're going to say they could do something, you may as well stop people from driving cars, one of the greatest modern killers, because they could run someone over or crash. Remember, folks, freedom first. And with freedom comes great responsibility. In fact, it's the hallmark of freedom itself. Thanks for joining us for another Freedom Minute. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so I messed up a few times because my notes here, I opened them on another computer, are cutting off half of each sentence. So I have to just try and remember what the sentence is. So just give me a moment here to fix this so my next report isn't as jumpy. Okay. And again, I will be doing these short reports and then taking questions. So if you have questions, please put them in the chat and I will get to them as soon as I can. So I'm just opening and closing these reports and then I'm doing Q&A after. Just got to make sure that my notes here can be read because that was very difficult to do without notes. Especially when I have a set thing to edit here for things to show up on the screen while I say them. Very hard to live edit when my notes completely go down. So see, that's one of the trial and errors that you get when you do this kind of stuff. You end up with a few situations like that, and then you have to edit around it later on. So if you watch the videos when they go up independently after, you will see what I mean. I will have to cut and paste certain parts so it's not as awkward for the people who are watching that report by itself, just for the benefit of the information, you know. So I got the next report's notes edited properly now. Just working on this next one. I'm trying to do this as fast as I can. Again, just throw your questions below and I will try and answer them as fast as humanly possible. I'm going to be actually doing a whole bunch of videos later on today as well with John Snyson. So stay tuned for those. Those are the better edited ones that look nice and are HD. These ones are all on a terrible webcam, but it's the best way to do live because it saves you from having to deal with the headaches of the internet slowing down and not working and all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, just one moment. Yeah, okay, almost finished this one. And I did not expect this to happen when I opened my notes right before I went live. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. This one's okay. Almost finished, and then we'll be on to the next live news report. Remember, us in independent media, we don't have a multi-million-dollar operation that we can depend on like most news networks. We are basically flying by the seat of our pants to do most of this kind of stuff. Okay, it looks like I am now officially done doing that. All right, now to do another live report and edit it live. Lots of fun, lots of fun. But someone has to do it. Anyway, so we got a few people watching anyway. Okay, so I'm going to go on to my next report. Again, for those that are wondering, I'm going to open it up and close it off. I'm not going anywhere after the report, so don't go away. I will be taking your questions, and we will be good to go on the next report after that. This one should be fun. Okay. Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here for another Freedom Minute update. And now, Catherine McKenna, Canada's Environment Minister, also known as Climate Barbie. The woman who pushed a propaganda campaign attacking fossil fuels while buying hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of luxury vehicles and cars with taxpayer money for quote-unquote research. She's the climate change. She's a climate change propaganda mule that just keeps on giving and stealing. Catherine McKenna recently said in a speech and then later on Twitter that, and I quote, "We need to consider the gendered impact of climate change on women, girls, and children. I am proud that Canada is training up women negotiators so that we have more female voices around the table." All right. So now, according to the overpaid eugenicist, wind and cow farts are sexist against women, girls, and children. Perhaps it's all part of it's all racist, like the SJWs who thought last year's solar eclipse was racist for only passing over predominantly white areas. I mean, why stop at just sexist? It's racist too, right? Anyway. Catherine, if you care about the message you're spreading, which, by the way, is just terrible. It's a terrible message of stealing money to prop up major monopolies under the guise of environmentalism. You may want to focus on that as a priority rather than spending all this time making sure most of the people working on this goal are women. Seems like a giant waste of time with no comprehension of qualification. Or perhaps focusing your priorities on how many vaginas to dicks are at a table talking about something that has nothing to do with gender will benefit us all when you fail to push forward things like Agenda 2030 at the United Nations or your crazy watershed developments. Perhaps it'll mean a setback to your tax on everything, also known as a carbon tax, which, by the way, has been taxed for decades in Norway, all while emissions have gone up. Well, anyways, bottom line, keep on failing. The public will continue learning and understanding politics is organized crime meant to push individuals into collective servitude. Government is the most dangerous religion to have ever existed. Break free, my friends. Thanks for joining us for another Freedom Minute. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. All right. Done that one. Moving on to the next. I got one more Canadian one and one American one coming up here. Got that ready. That one went a little bit more smooth. It's very difficult, I have to tell you. Reading the notes over here, reading what I wrote down, with the report that I'm live editing over here and knowing where to click over here at the same time as looking at that and then finding my place. It's not the funnest thing to do. Anyway. We're going to move on to the next report here. Make sure to press like below the video, share it around on Facebook, Twitter, other places. And again, I'm doing these, opening these reports, closing it, and then posting them after on YouTube. And then after I'm done, stay here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to take your questions. I got two more quick reports to do, and then I will be doing the live Q&A. All right, let's see. We got this set up and all right. Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and wait a second. See, every now and then you screw up. Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson. Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here for another live Freedom Minute update. And today, let's see what's in the news. Now, as a bank for international settlements says Canada is among 3 economies in the world most at risk of crisis, as Canadian household debt reaches $1.8 trillion, pushing the average up to $22,837 a person. As small businesses and the middle class are absolutely destroyed in Canada, Justin Trudeau danced like an idiot in India, embarrassing everyone. You know, the vast majority of Canadians who didn't vote for him. Well, here we go. It seems as Trudeau's personal popularity has dipped from 47% to 39% in the last month. Perhaps people are finally catching on. Are there still people left that actually like Justin Trudeau? Is there anyone that doesn't go crazy every time they see him stutter through ums and uhs for 10 minutes on national television? Or when he goes to a global meeting of world leaders and starts showing everyone his socks? Are there still people that actually think the guy is cool? Are there still people left that actually believe in politics? I guess the big test will be the next election. Will people go and vote for a new puppet, a new mob boss for the giant organized crime racket that we call government, the glassy-eyed religion of statism where we sit apathetically and believe some guy whipping the sheep herd is going to change things rather than grow the collective coercion of the populace? Remember, folks, Harper's approval ratings were about the same as Trudeau's in his 9th year. He may have been better, he may have been worse. That's up to you. But that doesn't really matter in the grand scale of things. We are being sent back and forth in circles for eternity as long as we continue to vote these people in. The small approval ratings on either side is a sign that politics is dying. Good. As individuals can achieve much more voluntarily rather than at the submission of government. These approval ratings are just signs that no matter what we do, collectivism always begets collectivism. The entire purpose of government is to extort us, shove us into servitude and debt, and benefit the state under the guise of having a say. If you had a say, you'd be able to opt out of your own enslavement under the social contract that ironically is titled Fair Say. As I always say, folks, rule yourself. You know what's best for you. The government does not. They just know what's best for them, and your success is not in their playbook. So thanks for joining us for another Freedom Minute update, and until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. All right, back for one more report, and then I'll take a couple of your questions. Let me just get my notes for my next one ready. This one kind of just blew up in my face right before I went on, which is that Trump has ousted Rex Tillerson. I'm going to go into that a bit. No surprise, there's more deep state, impressions being made on the Oval Office as per usual. It doesn't matter what the president is. Anyway, we're going to get into that right away. So I'm going to open that up, and then after this report, I am going to take a few of your questions. I'm getting a little bit tired because I actually was up all night last night working, and just got up a couple hours ago, but I have to get the work done, so here we go. I'm going to get into the next one here. Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here for another Freedom Minute update, and let's see what's in the news today. So, breaking reports say Trump has ousted Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. According to several inside sources, Tillerson is now out following tension between him and Trump for the last several months, and he will be replaced by CIA Director Mike Pompeo. So, this is definitely an interesting development to say the least. Let's go on to what Trump has tweeted here. So, as Trump tweeted, Mike Pompeo, director of the CIA, will become our new Secretary of State. He will do a fantastic job. Thank you to Rex Tillerson for his service. Now, Gina Haspel will become the new director of the CIA and the first woman so chosen. Congratulations to all. Okay, so it's important to note that the new CIA director, Gina Haspel, ran a CIA torture black site in Thailand under Bush and Cheney. She also took part in, the gruesome torture, the gruesome torture of detainee Abu Zubaydah. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. Anyway, so the question is, still playing 4D chess, Trump supporters? I don't know. It seems to me that the deep state is continuing to grow, and the deep state, as they have always under every president, is continuing to get more of a stranglehold on the Oval Office. So this rumor was flying around last year, and when we made mention of it, Trump supporters did not like it and insisted that it was a rumor and would never happen. Here's a status of mine from Facebook from December 1st, 2017. As I said, Statism will be statism, but my friends, the deep state is the CIA, and Trump is considering replacing Tillerson with CIA Director Mike Pompeo. Anyone paying attention yet? Any Trump supporters see the irony? Now, Trump supporters then claimed they were simply going to replace an ineffective head of the CIA and demote them to a lesser role. Then put in a new CIA chief that's loyal to him. They claimed that Trump was putting in someone new to fight the deep state. This is a lot of apathy and dependence on a so-called leader, and I responded with this. Just like installing a new president doesn't solve the deep state, installing a new director of the deep state isn't going to solve the deep state. A figurehead means nothing. None of this solves anything and keeps individuals apathetic and at bay instead of fighting the real enemies, just waiting for Trump, who cannot get past the global deep state to solve these problems, is setting us back. If he was going to change things, he'd have a silver bullet in his head. Now, I think that point was very important. Now, CIA Director Mike Pompeo has said that his main goal with the CIA is bringing down WikiLeaks and Julian Assange. We'll see how, we'll see how he does in his new role as Secretary of State. Remember, this is coming up on Trump's trip to meet with Kim Jong-un. Lots of people stepping down or getting fired, which you've probably noticed. We will also see how this deep state torture agent does as head of the deep state. Rule yourself, folks. Depending on government will always end with the same old stupid prizes. Thanks for joining us for another Freedom Update, and this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. Okay, I'm back to take your questions. Let's see what we got here. Got a few. I'm just glad to be over with reporting. It's really hard to edit live. Anyway, see what some of you have to say. Got some comments in the chat here. The public is partly to blame for putting up with all the issues. Lita Blue says, I can't stomach MSM anymore. It's so obvious they're lying. Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, the mainstream media is lying all the time, but in some ways they're trying to get caught lying. There's a huge psychological game taking place in the media that's supposed to divide people. So you got CNN, which is making up a whole bunch of stories, and then Fox News, which is adamantly guarding and defending Trump at all costs. Just like CNN constantly guarded Obama at all costs, and Fox News attacked Obama. It's all just a cycle that they're creating in order to create a divide among the populace. I mean, for years, CNN was attacking Muslims. And then suddenly one day they were pro-Muslim. That was meant in order to drive people against each other, because people just regurgitate the news and then they create two sides of that. It caused a huge issue. So I think, yeah, there's a psychological game being played. I think in a lot of ways the CIA deep state media is trying to be caught lying to people, because it causes people to go towards the other limited hangout scenario, which is Fox News, or the other side of the collectivist coin, to follow one side or the other, whichever one seems anti-establishment. So I think that it's just basically the back and forth of the news cycle that is meant to distract us, drive us against each other, and send us in the wrong direction, and ask for the same old problems that create the problems, as a solution. Gary K asked, or Jerry K says, really, do we know whom we can trust? No, we don't. We just have to do our own due diligence. You have to be as individual and independent-minded as humanly possible in this day and age when everything's a lie. A lot of independent medias are lying 24/7 too. I mean, it really takes a lot to understand what's real and what is not. It's hard to see reality these days. Almost everything you see is a lie. So it's really important that we do our own due diligence and understand these things for ourselves, so we can listen to ourselves and look to ourselves for advice. Because in the end, I'm trying to bring stories to everyone and, give them the information they need from what I've researched. And then I hope that they look into that information and come to their own conclusions one way or another, or come to the same conclusions as me. Either way, do your own due diligence, because I can't tell people what to think, and I shouldn't. It's all about, here's the information I find, here's me providing it to you, and it's up to you to go from there. 2143 asks, do you report for provinces like Quebec? I'm looking towards going to, I forget, is it the G7 or the G20 in Quebec in, I think, June. I'm looking towards hopefully going there, but in June I'd have to be going to Bilderberg, G7 or G20, and the Red Pill Expo. And there's rumors that Bilderberg is in Turin, Italy, so that's a bit of a travel. And then within the same week I have to get back to Canada and go to Quebec and report on the G7 or G20, and then go from there to Spokane, Washington for June 21st for the Red Pill Expo, which I'll be doing a workshop at with Luke Rudowski and Dan Dix. Hopefully that all works out fine, and we're working on it right now. I think 99 days until then. I do have an affiliate code for the Red Pill Expo that I do want to release because I just got it today. So let me just quickly look in my emails. And let's see. Okay, so yeah, go to the redpillexpo.org, redpillexpo.org, redpillexpo.org. And if you buy tickets, put in promo code WAM, that's WAM. And you should get a discount on your tickets. June 21st to 23rd, Spokane, Washington. There might be a breakout session going to the 24th as well. Lots of great people speaking there, including Robert Kiyosaki. Of course, it's G. Edward Griffin's event. It's going to be a great event. So again, redpillexpo.org, and type in promo code WAM. So yeah, let me just look at this link here. You know, these affiliate programs are also always so confusing because every place gives you like a different system to work with. I literally just got this email as I was live. My phone's trying to make me download apps. Anyway, so yeah, I think it's WAM. I might have a link, an affiliate link to send people. Keep an eye out in my newest videos. And yeah, anyway, moving on. Got another question here. Mr. 760 says, interesting you say the news cycle is meant to distract us. Correct. There's a lot of FUD out there in all spheres, political, financial, health, love, so they put a heat spin on it. Yeah, well, yeah, they're always trying to divide people, and divide people and drive them against each other. That's the whole idea, because a populace that's infighting is basically a populace that's easy to control because they're distracted from the real enemies. That's incredibly dangerous. So yeah, it works out really well for them when they drive us against each other. That's why we just have to break free from that and try our best not to attack other people for having different views, etc. We should just be spending all of our time focusing on our views and getting our ideas to the forefront of the conversation rather than attacking other people for their views. The left and much of the right is very good at distracting by attacking each other and infighting and all sorts of stuff. I mean, look at the Libertarian Party too. I mean, just constant infighting in the United States. You gotta focus on your ideas and try and stay away from going after everyone else. Of course, when someone does something wrong, call them out, but don't do ad hominem arguments against people who have different views from you. Let's see. A lot of talk about Snowden. I don't know if he's a limited hangout. I did a report in 2014 questioning whether he's a limited hangout and found that it was unlikely. But over the years, I've found with his support for Hillary Clinton, with his attacks on Julian Assange, the guy who basically saved him, I don't know. He just seems a little bit sketchy to me. There's so many other NSA whistleblowers that came out. And I just find it odd that he's the one that they all focus on. So many NSA whistleblowers that came out. So yeah, I found that somewhat strange. I have a feeling that some of you are coming up with this because of the Glenn Greenwald piece I flashed on the screen earlier. regarding that new CIA director, Gina, what's her name? Gina Haspel. That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun to deal with. Anyway. Private Man says, Josh calling out our little potato a scumbag to his face in front of a crowd was epic. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to do. I wish I could do it again, but I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed within like 200 feet of the Prime Minister now, and I think that gives him the legal right to basically shoot me, or tase me at least. I don't know. I've been tackled a few times trying to approach the Prime Minister, because I've confronted him. Well, I've successfully confronted him twice, and I've attempted to confront him 2 other times. One time I tapped him on the shoulder at the Liberal convention in Winnipeg, and I got thrown to the ground. And I shouldn't have touched him on the shoulder. That's a no-brainer. But then the other one was I was there was a gay pride parade in Vancouver, Canada, and I saw him walking, and I was meeting up with Dan Dix to go and confront him. Actually, Dan Dix of Press for Truth, and I saw him and I hopped a fence and ran at him and got tackled. So, yeah. Anyway, fun times, but I don't even understand how they let me into that press conference. It really makes no sense at all that they gave me a press pass. It's always blown my mind. Like, that was a huge error. Someone probably got fired for that. But, yeah, I find it hilarious because, I mean, they were giving all the media questions to ask him. 5 questions that you can ask the Prime Minister. And I'm like, I got my own question. They're like, well, too bad, then you can't ask one. So I was already standing there for hours and hours, and I was hungry and tired, didn't have my coffee. Found out last second when my girlfriend mentioned it to me the night before that he was coming to town. So it was like I had no time. I stood at the side of the press conference a few feet away from the Prime Minister, and then finally I just started yelling at him about the carbon tax, asking him how does he justify people having to choose between feeding their families and heating their homes in the winter due to your carbon tax. It's a tax on everything, etc. And he refused. He said I was being rude and all that. He was reading a script. I almost made him lose his place reading a script. Anyway, he did not like that, and security started throwing me around and grabbing me by the throat and all sorts of stuff. And the media wouldn't film that part, of course. They only started filming after they were throwing me around, and they told me to go around the cameras, and I instead went in front of all the cameras. And every bit of me wishes that I stopped right in front of those cameras, right in front of the podium, and just started yelling at him there. Instead, I yell at him as I walk by. It kills me, but you should have seen the size of the security guards that were looking at me. It's a scary situation. It's scary to do it. It's funny because right as you go to say something, your voice doesn't want to come out because it's like you know that what you're doing is epic, and you're not sure why it's scary because, I mean, Justin Trudeau is not intimidating. It's more the idea of what you're about to do and about the fact that, okay, you're about to put yourself on international television. Because people I know in Africa saw translated African versions on TV of my confrontation of Trudeau and calling him a scumbag, and then messaged me. They're like, yeah, I just saw you on television here in, what country was that again? It wasn't Zimbabwe. I have a hard time with my African countries. Anyway, I think it might have been Kenya or something. It was like it was in Africa, and it was African state television reported on it. It was like, what? And then another guy in Peru, and yeah. Anyway, it was just ridiculous. So I knew that I was about to put myself on international television, and it scared the hell out of me in a way. I mean, but I went over in my head, what would I regret more? Not doing it, and then having that in my head that I didn't go and do it after even going there in the first place, or would I regret doing it and having my say and yelling at the Prime Minister like most Canadians want to do? So I did. I yelled at him and called him a scumbag as I left the room because I knew it would get on television if I called him that. It worked. It forced him to answer questions about the carbon tax, though terrible answers. So yeah, it worked out pretty well. I was proud of it, and it worked out fine. I had a terrible headache, migraine later that night, though. The stress of it, I sat down and I'm like, oh, my head hurts. I felt sick, nauseous, just kind of like knowing what I just did. It was crazy. And I felt similar when I first confronted him in in 2015, 2 days before the election, right before he was prime minister, I got him to shake my hand. I said, "Can I have a handshake? Can I shake your hand?" And I grabbed his hand and it wouldn't let go. And I just started shouting at him about Bill C-51, which is Canada's version of the National Defense Authorization Act. Just started yelling at him because in the 1970s, a reporter told his father, who was Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, told him when he put tanks in the streets that you can't create a police state. And Trudeau Sr. looked at the reporter and said, "Well, just watch me." And it was the most arrogant, sick police state stuff that you could imagine Prime Minister to answer with. And anyway, so I tried to repeat that same confrontation with Trudeau Jr. by saying you can't create a police state, blah, blah, blah. And then I chased a bus down the street and got chased by a guy with a taser. And it was fun. You know, these things are what I do this for. This is why I do this. And it's been almost a year since my last confrontation, so I'm really looking forward to Bilderberg. People, Jerry says Josh is gutsy. It's just gut instinct. I really scares the hell out of me. Not gonna lie. The whole yelling at a prime minister in his face in front of a whole bunch of people on international television is scary as hell. It's your mouth almost doesn't want to say what you want to say in your head, and it's just your legs are doing something else, and it's a terrible feeling. I hate the feeling of doing it, but I love the results, and it is a great feeling of success being able to yell at globalist world leader with crazy looking socks like Justin Trudeau. Anyway, yes, I am Canadian for those that are asking. Yes, the carbon tax is robbery. It's theft. It's a tax on everything. It drives prices up for everything and further monopolizes major monopolized corporations and pushes small businesses out of the market, killing the middle class, hurting the poor. All their excuses. It's the exact opposite of whatever they say. And yes, taxation is theft and fraud, period. It's extortion, it's robbery, every form of taxation other than if you are voluntarily donating is theft. Let's keep that in mind. So whenever people say, should the government? I'm like, no, don't even finish that sentence. No, the government shouldn't. We as individuals can. The free market can. But no, not government. Anyway, let's see. Do we have any questions here? I appreciate the love, everyone. I really appreciate that. And yes, Angel, I am Canadian. Let's see. What do we got here for questions? I'm just kind of scrolling through. I wonder what I have on STEEMIT. I'm just going to quickly check STEEMIT out and see if I have anything going on. Am I still live? Okay. Sorry, just this red thing showed up on my screen randomly. Hopefully I'm still live. Still recording. I'm going to refresh this. Let's see. Yeah, I just got a few. I got two comments on my STEEMIT post, and they're both spam comments. Like, I very much liked your blog, and it benefits the achievement of credit that goes to you. Like, what are you saying? That's one of the issues of STEEMIT. There's a lot of people that aren't actually reading the articles and just instantly write really strange things. Anyway, using, let's see, Daedalus Cardano says using public infrastructure funded by taxes for free is theft. No, it isn't. Using that public infrastructure, you don't have a choice. You can't go on other people's property. The government enforces that on you. You have to use the roads. They're everywhere. It's absurd to say that that's theft. No, it really isn't. The government stealing from you is theft, and building things that you never asked for is theft, inefficiently, by the way, which the free market can do much better. But then you're stuck using them. You don't have a choice unless you have like a helicopter, your own helicopter, or like a jetpack and fly above it. Let's be real here. They force us to use that stuff. You can't really go anywhere without using them unless you want to walk through the forest. But the forest is owned by the government. It's all public. So there's that. I mean, it's literally everything that's not private property, and you cannot infringe on people's private property rights. Everything else is government. So how are you supposed to avoid that? The only thing I could think of is blast off to space. Oh, wait, space is owned by government and corporations too. So I guess you just got to kill yourself? I mean, think about it. There's nothing you could really do to get out of this situation other than protest it and explain how it's inefficient, how it's immoral, and explain that to people so that they change their minds, so that someday we can change that problem. But it's not theft to use the infrastructure that you are forced to use. Anyway, yeah, rocket skates. Yeah, we should just shoot above the road with rocket skates. Oh wait, also government owns international airspace. That is unfortunate. You can't really do anything. So I got John Snyson calling me here. Just 1 second. I'm gonna get him on here. Hey John, you're live on YouTube. I'm doing a live stream.
Okay, can I just come like anytime, about 45 minutes or to an hour?
Yeah, just come by then. Like I said, you are live on YouTube. Say hi to the audience.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Anyway, okay, sounds good. I'll see you soon then, and we'll get some reports done. All right.
Awesome.
All right,
bye.
spot. Yeah. Anyway, so being distracted from left and right here. My girlfriend's talking to me. I got my phone going off here. Anyway, we're gonna wrap up soon, so I have enough energy to do videos. I've been moving lately. I can't find a place that hasn't had some kind of infestation with cockroaches or something. I'm a very clean person, and the thought of living in a building with cockroaches or bed bugs makes me absolutely disgusted. So I'm trying to find a place to rent out right now that doesn't have that kind of problem. Anyway, Lita Blue asks, can banks ask where you get your income? Yeah, they can ask. I don't see. I mean, I'm not looking at the law here. As individuals, they can ask, but you shouldn't have to tell them. They will probably report it to the IRS or CRA or whatever tax revenue agency you have in your country. So I would say that don't answer them if you don't want, but don't keep your money in the banks unless you're just keeping a small amount for transactions like paying rent and stuff, because the problem is if your money's in the bank, it's not yours, it's the banks. It's always going to be the banks, and banks are almost completely insolvent. We recently reported on it. I mean, even credit unions, like 99% of their cash is not covered. So that means you don't have money in the bank. I mean, you can't take it. If you had $1 million, there's many credit unions that are like, you can only take out $100,000 a year. It's like, oh, that's my money. No, it isn't. You loaned it to us. You invested it in us, and we got holds on that money. Anyway, it's very dangerous. Alukia says, can humans ask for sources of income? Absolutely, they can ask. You just don't have to answer. Asking questions isn't a use of force. I don't like it when they ask. I find it is nosy, but they can certainly ask. Outside of the law, maybe there's laws around it that say, but I don't pay attention to laws as of all interest. Anyway, GBS63 says girlfriends are theft. Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, it's like anyway. I'll take one more question, and then I got to take off because we are going to do a whole bunch of videos today, and super chats are helpful, just to let you know, because YouTube is basically muzzling us from making money. They are demonetizing us, which makes it very difficult for us to go and report on events and interview people, deal with our tech issues, which we have many, live and eat and have a place to sleep. They are really hurting us right now. They actually just censored Dan Dix of Press for Truth incredibly. They gave him a strike on his account for bullying or something from a video he did years ago on crisis actors. He wasn't saying that the story was true. He was actually questioning someone in the video who claimed that he himself was a crisis actor. And he was debating him, but because of the word being in the title, he instantly got his video censored. Well, he got his video censored years later, and if he gets 2 more strikes, his account will be terminated. It's disgusting. We've got to support independent media. Look at STEEMIT and DTube. It's very important that we start moving over there and bring diversity of thought there too, because the great thing about YouTube, and the only great thing about YouTube, is that you can reach people outside of your ideology. It's not an echo chamber. A lot of these other places are echo chambers because it's people that are already mostly in one way or another somewhere positioned in a place where they understand some of this stuff. So it's rather dangerous to be going down this path with this government monopoly on information that is Google and Facebook, etc., which have gotten billions of dollars from the government, not private companies. And they are disadvantaging their shareholders as well. Porkchop 1975 says, have you ever been charged for your attempts in confronting the Prime Minister? I have never been charged. They have held me for a while, and then I'm nice to the police. People always, put themselves, okay, liberty is life and responsibility, and in protecting those individual liberties, it's about preservation of life and survival. And disadvantaging yourself where you are hurt and you're being put in a cage does not help the message. It can influence a few people, but overall, liberty is preservation of life, because life is liberty and liberty is life and responsibility. So when I talk with the police, I don't yell at them. I've yelled at TSA agents and stuff because of them treating old women badly, but I don't yell at the police. So I'm respectful, and I start finding things in common. Talk with them about things that we have in common. Found a few cops who call themselves libertarians that watch my videos, and that's good. But I talk with them and I try and influence them. I got a few people to quit their jobs as police officers and river patrol officers and stuff. But anyway, I've almost been charged, but I'm nice. One cop actually told me to cross the street once in this place to get around the Prime Minister's barricades and all that kind of stuff after I confronted him and called him a scumbag. And he's like, cross the street. I'm like, well, that's jaywalking, and the last thing I need is, after all of that, to get arrested for jaywalking, because I know you guys and you're going to do that. How about I just walk around this stuff? It's public property, right? I'm not breaking the law, right? He's like, no, technically not. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that. Sorry, I'm not going to put myself in a position where I can get arrested. Anyway. So, a lot of cops hate Trudeau, by the way, too. Ugh, cops hate Trudeau. It's some of the conversations I've had with some of these cops. They just can't stand the guy. I'm not a fan of the profession of police. I prefer the private police that worked for so long in places like San Francisco for centuries, I believe it was, according to Private Governance by Everett Stringham, a great book you should all read on privatizing everything and how it actually is more efficient and safer. And yeah, just check that book out, Private Governance by Everett Stringham. He's a professor, and he was also a student at Walter Block's. Anyway, but yeah, a lot of police hate Trudeau, and it's mostly because Trudeau embarrasses them because they work for the guy. And it's like showing world leaders their socks, like I reported on earlier. It's like, but again, these are figureheads. Government is extortion, is a organized crime racket, and all that. So anyway, finishing it off here. Metal for Detecting says, what are your thoughts on stacking precious metals? A big believer in precious metals for centuries and centuries and millennias. They've been a safe haven, wealth insurance. They are not for investing. And again, this is just my opinion, not advice. But yeah, precious metals are great. Big believer in decentralization and cryptocurrencies, diversification of wealth and all that, and not just capital gains, but cash flow as well. Anyway, I appreciate everyone joining us today. Lita Blue says, I told a cop to arrest Trudeau. I did that once too, actually. I told a cop at an event that I couldn't get into to confront him, on a fifth attempt to confront him, to go and arrest the criminal inside the building. And he looked at me like I was a crazy meth head, because there's a lot in that area, and they just looked at me like, you all right? And I'm like, I'm just saying, like, arrest the guy. He's a criminal. He's selling weapons to ISIS. Anyway, so thanks for joining us. Make sure to press like. If you haven't subscribed, press subscribe. And also, big one, I want more people to press subscribe on my other channel. That's Josh Sigurdson. Josh Sigurdson on YouTube. I'm going to actually try and send it to you right now, see if it's possible while I'm doing this live stream. Let's see. I'm going to put it in the chat for everyone to see. And I want more people to subscribe to the channel, because YouTube is purging a lot, and it's worrying me, and I want to make sure that everything is all right in the future when it comes to, when it comes to actually being able to post videos. If this account gets taken down, it's bad news. I don't know if my name's big enough to have my own account. It's just Josh Sigurdson, but it's worth a try. Anyway, just make sure to subscribe. I do post videos there every now and then. More videos that I wouldn't usually put on WAM. How-to videos, blog videos, vlog videos. A video of Jeff Berwick playing doing the Bitcoin rap in Acapulco with the Wu-Tang Clan in the audience. Fun stuff like that. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate your support, and I'll leave I think my donation links are in the description for everyone. Don't send to my PayPal right now. I'm having issues because they scammed me for thousands of dollars over some guy who did a chargeback on my PayPal and disputed the transaction, and now I'm dealing with that, and it sucks. So yeah, if you want to donate, you could donate to my GoFundMe or Patreon. Well, actually, stick to like GoFundMe or Bitcoin right now. I have those, or Litecoin addresses in there too, because I really can't do it without you. They are basically demonetizing everything. They're trying to shut us down. They were algoing us into oblivion, stopping us from being able to be seen. And it's more important than ever to support independent media as we get censored to death. Who knows what comes next? We need the support of the viewer. Like any news channel on television, the thing is, they got big pharmaceutical companies, advertising on their fear-mongering nonsense and lies in the mainstream media. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone, and until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.